Okay, so this lesson is about graphing lines using slope and y-intercept. So if you're given a line y equals 2 over 3x minus 5, how would you graph it without making a table of values? So from here, first step is to identify what's slope and what's y-intercept. As you did yesterday's lesson, looking at the equation, what would be the slope? Slope is the coefficient of x. So in this case, slope would be 2 over 3. And y-intercept is the constant values. In this case, it's going to be negative 5. Now again, slope tells you the direction and the steepness of the line, whereas the y-intercept tells you the location of the line. That was yesterday's lesson. So we have done the first step. So we have identified what's slope and what's y-intercept. So now our next step is to plot the y-intercept. Now since y-intercept is the line, is the point where the line crosses the y-axis, so if we look here, we are given that y-intercept is negative 5. Now you've noticed that I've used the letters M and B for slope and y-intercept, and those are just the letters that are used to represent slope and y-intercept. So I'm just going to make a note here before we move on that M stands for slope and B stands for y-intercept. So it's just a representation of these two terms. So now let's see. Now here you're given slope is y-intercept is negative 5. So on y-axis, wherever it is negative 5, that becomes your y-intercept. So that would be your first point. So you plot a point at negative 5. So I'm plotting a point at negative 5. Now you're done step 2. We're going to now see from step 3. So for step 3 says, you have to know what do we have to do. So from step 3, you have to now look at slope. So from your y-intercept, wherever the y-intercept is, you have to determine what you're going to do. If the slope is positive, then you go up always. And how much do you go up? By rise. So in this case, what's the rise here? Rise is 2 and run is 3. So you will start from negative 5 because that's where you start, and you're going to go up. Why are we going up? Because the slope is positive. And how much are we going to go up? That is the number 2. So from here, you go 2 up. And then you have to decide what do you do with the run. So for the run, it's always the value in the denominator. You always go to the right. Doesn't matter whether the slope is positive or negative, you always go to the right. So now from here, I'm going to go, I went 2 up, so 2 up, and then 3 to the right, 1, 2, 3. So my point is going to be here. Now if you noticed, I put these little bubbles on the graph. You don't have to do it, but if it helps you where your next stop is going to be, you can do that. So now from here, next point, you continue to do the same. Go 2 up, right 3. Continue, 2 up, right 3. And that would be your graph for the line y equals 2 over 3x minus 5. And that's the lesson for today. You connect the points and extend the line in both directions. Remember to add arrows at the end of the lines, and you're done. So we just did step 3 and step 4, and you're done. Okay, now I'm just going to show you what happens if there is a negative slope, and I'm just going to use the same grid because for some reason it didn't print on my sheet. So let's look at the example below here, and that would be this example. Y equals negative 3 over 4x plus 8. So now here, what is slope? Negative 3 over 4. So if you notice, slope is negative, and what's the y-intercept? Y-intercept is 8. So again, here in your slope, what's rise? Negative 3, and what's run? 4. So where would you start your graph here? You would start at the y-intercept, which is 8. So you plot your first point at 8. I just did. And now, are we going to go up or down? we decide that by looking at the sign of the slope. The slope of the sign is negative, so we're going to go down. How much? By rise. Rise is 3 here. So from here, from this point, we're going to go 3 down. 1, 2, 3, and always to the right. How much? By 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So your next point is going to be at here. Now you continue the same. Go down 3, 1, 2, 3, right 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that becomes your line. Okay, so now what happens if there is no room on the graph to go to the right? That's when you will go left. But you have to change the direction as well. So instead of going, you also have to change. If you're going towards the left, so instead of going up, you're going to go down and to the left. So everything just becomes the opposite if there is no room on the graph. But the rule is always go to the right.